Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Bengal Magazine. And on the show, I've got one of my bosses coming on board, Dr. Tim Gordon, the new Vice President for Student Affairs. Tim's going to join us first. And then Nicole Mehlman, the Assistant Track and Field and Cross Country Coach, is joining us. And Nicole is bringing along Tianna Gillenwater, the outstanding thrower from New Rochelle. Tianna's a senior. And Jen Wilson from women's hockey, a terrific season moving into the playoffs. And Jen is bringing along Cheyenne Matson from Wasilla, Alaska, of all places. We'll talk to Cheyenne about that, a defenseman and a sophomore. We've got Patrick Smith with Bengal Update and, of course, the Athlete of the Week. So we've got a big show. Stay with us. We'll take a quick break. Well, we're joined now by Dr. Tim Gordon, the new Vice President for Student Affairs, one of my bosses here. Athletics reports to Student Affairs. So, Tim, welcome to campus and welcome to the show. Great to have you on. So, who is Tim Gordon? Let's start there. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, that's $1 million question,
oh,
right?
Fantastic.
So I've spent about 20 plus years in higher education, have worked most of my career in urban higher education, so in Chicago, Milwaukee, and obviously now Buffalo. And so really what brought me to this work was to give back a little bit. I was a student who came to campus with no parents who'd gone to college as a first generation student, and so that really has driven my work. The joke with my dad always is I was going to be a lawyer, and I hoped that the PhD was a good consolation prize. So really the draw in terms of the work is helping students continue to find their paths and get to the goal of achieving their education.
Yeah, you may have touched on the answer to this question. I'm kind of curious your vision of your office as it relates to Buffalo State College.
The Division of Student Affairs is really what I call a group that makes a lot of dance partners. So we build a lot of bridges to help make sure that students are having the best experience they can in terms of their learning and their Buffalo State experience on the campus. And so that means collaborating a lot with our colleagues around the campus in academic affairs and a number of other areas to look at what are opportunities for student learning, what are ways that we can create really what I see as the Buffalo State experience, what do we do well and can we deliver for our students. And the great thing is that we have this wonderful laboratory in the city of Buffalo that is also a big asset to our students, and how do we continue to be engaged with that and live up to that urban engaged mission.
Yeah, we are an urban engaged campus. Our president works on that slogan often. And that said, how can we in athletics help that mission, that urban engagement?
Well, one of the things I've shared with a number of the student athletes I've interacted with, and certainly have communicated with some of our folks who've been great athletes of the week since I have been here and have accomplished some things, is that athletics really is part of the ambassadorship of the campus.
Absolutely.
And so it certainly provides an opportunity for the community to understand who we are. The great thing about our student athletes is they also are great ambassadors. So they not only are students, but they are leaders in the community, and so they are able to really carry that message forward and embody really what we expect to be an urban engaged campus where students are having those rich learning experiences. So I think from the vantage point of athletics, it plays a critical role. Certainly the benefit that it has to our student athletes is, one of the clear examples, but I think also it's, about ways that we can continue to look at how do we leverage those athletic programs to help support the additional community, whether that's through some of the work we might do in skill building with non-college students or, working with alumni and others out in the community.
Very good. You came to us from University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And in doing my research, very similar, it seems like, to Buffalo State. In your words, are there similarities between the two institutions, and how does that help you?
I think the biggest similarity is that University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, similar to Buffalo State, is one of the most diverse campuses in the system. It also is obviously situated in a major urban center, much like Buffalo. So the communities also have some similar backgrounds in terms of they both are communities that are really on the rise. And so looking at what is their next iteration as a community and moving into that piece, I certainly see the fact that we serve similar populations in terms of students who might be first generation, number of commuter students. Certainly Milwaukee, the student body was a little bit bigger, but very similar in terms of demographic needs of students. And so, you know, in terms of helping me, I think it's continues to reaffirm what our students are going to need and what role we play as an urban engaged campus in terms of understanding that diversity and really looking at how do we deliver experiences for our students, not only that kind of the larger level, but on some smaller scale as well.
Very good. Well, you've been here a whole month. Technically, you were here a little earlier, but your challenges that you're, you know, that you see off the bat with Buffalo State, and maybe because it's urban and the diversity is always great, but where do you see the challenges of your office right now?
I think, you know, the opportunity for us is really to continue to build bridges around the campus to deliver really a comprehensive student experience for students at Buffalo State. And so for me, the focus that I have is how do we take advantage of those moments of student learning? How do we look at ways that we can continue to meet the needs of students proactively and not kind of use a cookie approach in that, a cookie cutter approach in that serving of students, but then also how we stay up to date in terms of the, you know, our student population and the demands on college students. Things like affordability and accessibility are certainly important to an urban institution of higher education, but our trends around the country, I certainly would say, not unlike our peers around the country, we continue to look at how do we support the mental health needs of our students. I'm excited that we're moving into really a more comprehensive wellness perspective in terms of our supporting our students' health holistically. So whether that's students who want to be engaged in faith or spirituality practices, to some of the work that we're doing with yoga and some of the things through WIGO, all of those things I think are really great opportunities, but also moments for us as an urban engaged campus to really put our stamp on what is the student experience here. So I think the piece is continuing to define and understand what we want that student experience to be, with students as certainly significant partners in that. But I'm really excited to have that opportunity. I think the division is doing some great work, and I'm lucky to really be a part of that action.
Well, we are lucky to have you here, and again, welcome to Buffalo and welcome to Buffalo State.
Thank you.
Best of luck. We are going to take a quick time out, but when we come back, we're going to go talk a little track and field. Stay with us.
No matter who you are or where you're from, you are welcome here.
Tú eres bienvenido. مرحبا. أهلا وسهلا.
You are welcome here.
You are welcome.
You are welcome here.
Well, congratulations are going out to Grace Licata from women's basketball. She is this week's Athlete of the Week. The junior childhood education major posted back-to-back career scoring highs and helping the Bengals to a couple of victories. Grace hit 5 3-pointers for 15 points in a 69-67 win over Morrisville. And she followed that up with a 21-point performance on a school record 7 3-pointers in a 74-60 playoff clinching victory at Fredonia. Quite a game that was. In those two games, Grace made 12 of 20 3-pointers. That's 60%. So congratulations to Grace Licata, this week's Athlete of the Week. And we're joined now by a couple of females here. Nicole Mehlman, the assistant coach for track and field, joins us, and cross country, excuse me. And Tianna Gillenwater, the outstanding thrower, the senior from New Rochelle. So, Coach, I want to start with you first. Fabulous meet that you're coming off of, the Brockport Invitational. The men were 4th of 15. I think the women were 6 or 7. I'm kind of interested in your strategy, as they say, for that meet. You're a week out of the all-important SUNY Championship. So going into that meet, what was the thought process? Let's start on the men's side first.
Sure. We had a couple guys coming off an injury from earlier in the season that came up really big at Brockport. We had a transfer who also, we weren't really even expecting him to do a whole lot. Paris, okay. Paris Strickland. We weren't expecting him to necessarily come up big in indoor, maybe more so for outdoor, just with where his training was. But he was another one. He's been highly motivated all year and came through big in the 400. And that's what ends up deciding who's going to get wild carded into the SUNYAC meet.
Very good.
As well as who might sneak into the SUNYAC meet. Maybe they weren't in the top 16 immediately, but some people pulled out, some people scratched, some people got sick, got injured, and all of a sudden, you know, guys like Tom Sales are making it in pole vault, and that's just by coming up big later in the season at the right time.
Very good. And on the women's side, what was the thought process going into the women's side of the meet?
We had another couple ladies on the bubble that also needed to come up big. We decided on our wild cards, we had a couple ladies that just momentum, you know, they're really riding high right now. But we also, you know, had a great performance from Ronnie, great performances from Tianna and from our throwers, who we kind of already knew were going to go into the SUNYAC meet, but it's that momentum piece. You know, they're going in really, really strong right now.
Well, Tianna, you had an outstanding meet at Brockport. Fourth in the shot, 11.88 meters, and that's about 39 feet, give or take. Tell me about the progress this season for you, and heading into that meet. Are you kind of where you thought you'd be right now?
In the beginning, I wasn't that confident. So once I was taking each meet at a time, like step by step, like setting little goals at a time.
Very good.
And when I finally hit 11 meters high, I was shocked for myself, and continue to hit 11 meter high. I was like, I have it. And I was just confident, and I know who my targets are. So I kept aiming for them and aiming. Like, I watched the scoreboard every week to see who's chasing me or who I have to chase.
She sounds like a very motivated student athlete.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about her.
Sure. I mean, sometimes you go to these meets and Tianna is half the size of some of these girls, and you don't think that she's going to be able to compete with them, but she really proves you wrong immediately. Tianna is highly technical, and throwing is a highly technical event. It's not all about strength.
Right.
And she sort of out-techniques a lot of young ladies at these meets, and she shocks some people, absolutely. That's her hard work, though.
You know, it's something I wrote down here, is it technique or strength? And it sounds like it's technique, but I want to go back to her comment. When you walk into these meets and there are some quote-unquote bigger ladies there, you're not intimidated at all? How does that? How do you look at all that?
From like high school days, I was the smallest, always the smallest, and like the officials be like, "You're so tiny," and I'll be like, "I know, but you just have to see what I throw."
Right.
But I have better speeds than most girls in the circle. My speed is there.
When you say speed, let me interrupt you. You mean
getting across the circle?
Rotation and across the circle.
Yes.
Okay. This is so technical, and I got about a minute, but what are you working on now? I mean, where you're moving up, and as you watch yourself, maybe your film, what part of technique are you working on as we move into this championship and then beyond?
My technique I'm really focusing on is getting my leg under, snapping and throwing it.
So tell me what that means real quick, getting the leg under and snapping. So I'm assuming at that final rotation, take us through that a little bit.
So what Tianna's referring to is you don't necessarily just want to throw from your upper body. You really want to utilize your whole body, especially when you're in that final phase, and getting that blocking arm down so that you're controlling the throw as you leave the circle and not fouling, which you don't do that too often, so it's good.
Wow, interesting story. Less than a minute. SUNYAC's this weekend coming up. Tell me the thought process here. What's it going to take for a top 3, top 4 finish for these teams?
Sure. The men's team right now is right there in the mix of everything. We have a fantastic sophomore class right now that really came up big for us this year. They are a few pieces away from being in that top 2 category.
Okay.
We're almost there. Whereas the women's, we're going to have some really great individual performances. You know, we're looking for great things from Tianna and Ronnie and Chilla and a couple girls. Women's team's very young this year, but a very bright future, I think, ahead for them.
Very good. Well, ladies, thanks so much for being on the show. Keep motivated. You're moving right up the ladder. Thanks for being here, Tianna. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little women's hockey with Jen Wilson. Stay with us. This is a college that inspires. Here you'll be engaged, strive for excellence, and prepare for a career. Visit our amazing Elmwood Village campus and apply today. You'll achieve your edge here. This place is Buffalo State College.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Bengal Update. I'm Patrick Smith with a recap of news, scores, and a look at upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. Women's basketball earned a berth in the SUNY playoffs for the first time since 2015 and picked up a 54-51 win over Cortland in the SUNY quarterfinals. Buffalo State's 13 wins are the most for a program since 2013-14. With the win, the Bengals extended their winning streak to 5 games. The Bengals will take on number 2 Oneonta in the SUNY semifinals, hosted by top-seeded Geneseo on Friday, February 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Number 15 men's hockey finished the regular season 16-6-3 overall, having posted the second highest single-season win total in school history, and earned the 3rd seat in the SUNY with a 9-4-3 league record. The Bengals will make it 8th straight SUNY postseason appearance when it hosts number 6 Potsdam on Wednesday, February 21st at 7 p.m. in the Ice Arena. For live stats and live video, visit BuffaloStateAthletics.com. Women's hockey closed out the regular season with a 13-10-2 overall record and finished 9-6-1 in the newly formed Northeast Women's Hockey League. The Bengals earned the 2nd seat in the NEWHL playoffs, which marks Buffalo State's 5th consecutive postseason appearance. Buffalo State will host number 3 Oswego on Saturday, February 24th at 3 p.m. For live stats and live video, visit BuffaloStateAthletics.com. Men's basketball concluded its 2017-18 campaign with a 90-85 win over Battle by Lake rival Fredonia on Saturday, February 17th. Senior Mike Henry finished with 26 points to finish his career ranked 13th in school history with 1,239 career points. Buffalo State's men's and women's swimming and diving will compete in the 4-day SUNY Swimming and Diving Championships starting on Wednesday, February 21st and will run through Friday, February 24th. Senior Connor Mergler, the 2-time defending male outstanding swimmer of the meet, leads the men's side while freshman Angelo McCauley will lead the women's side. For the schedule of events, live results, and live video, visit SUNYXSports.com. Track and field competed in the Brockport Invitational on February 17th. Robert Leibel sprinted to a win in the 400-meter dash to lead the men's side to a 4th finish, while Ronnie Quadruple broke her own school record in the mile as the Bengals placed 7th out of 12 teams. Buffalo State will compete in the SUNY Indoor Championships next Friday, February 23rd, and Saturday, February 24th at Brockport. For Bengal Update, I'm Patrick Smith.
Well, thanks again, Boy Wonder, for that Bengal update. And now we're joined by Jen Wilson, the head coach of women's hockey here at Buffalo State. And she's brought along Cheyenne Matson from Wasilla, Alaska. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, Jen, we're moving into the playoffs. And quite a successful year so far. 13-10 overall, 9-6 in the conference. I'm kind of curious, have you sat back a little bit and thought, what do I like most about this team? What are they doing that I like most about this team?
Yeah, I've taken definitely some time to kind of analyze this season heading into playoffs from where we've been to where we've come. You know, the only losses that we've had since we've been back from break have been at the hands of Plattsburgh, you know, one of the number 1 teams in the country.
You told me not to mention that team, and you go ahead and mention it.
Well, it is what it is. They're
Their day is
they're
coming,
a great
Jen.
team,
Their day is
and
coming.
hopefully we'll see them at the finals.
Right.
But yeah, we've come a long way. I think we got down to the basics. We talked about a little bit last time, and I think you've just seen the amount of skilled just grow and grow with this team, and I'm really excited to kind of keep rolling and see where things go at the end of the year.
I'm interested by looking at your stats. I think you define this team as a speed team, a skill team. You like the offensive end of things. You want them to push it in a basketball term. And yet your goals against is you're playing pretty good defense too. So that must make you feel awfully good that the ladies are back checking, doing the things they need to do to make it a defensive game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to work both ends of the ice. You can't be a one-way team. I think Shy definitely has a hand too in our defensive system.
Hands.
Or two. Yeah, and Justine Silva has been kind of a backbone for us as well.
Right.
So you've been doing really well on both ends of the ice, and we struggled in the beginning of the year scoring goals. I think we've kind of fixed that a little bit, and especially against Oswego, we've been doing pretty well against some scoring. So.
In your eyes, as a student athlete, how has the season gone? Have you seen the progress of the team, and maybe in what areas?
I think the hardship for our team was just adapting to the new coaching and staff and whatnot. And I think they've overcome that pretty well, and I think we'll finish strong. And
Very
then
good.
Start out strong next year too.
Absolutely, and we're not done with this year. Talk to us about Cheyenne. What does she bring to the team?
Cheyenne's one of our fastest defensemen, if not one of our fastest players in general.
Okay.
She's the first person back to the puck. She clears the puck out well. Because of the fact that she's so agile, she make escape moves behind the net, tight turns, things like that. She's a big asset for us to get out of our own zone, which kind of goes back to how great we've been doing defensively.
Very good. Obviously, the question is, how does somebody from Alaska, Wasilla, Alaska, end up at Buffalo State? You're a sophomore, health and wellness major. Give us, in a minute or so, how did it all happen for you? How did you find Buffalo State?
Well, at first I didn't even know I was gonna go like this far out east, and I was thinking
and south.
Yeah. But my team from Alaska, we were in Canada for a tournament, and we were getting like slaughtered so bad. And previous assistant coach Tianna Gillenwater, she saw me there, and they contacted me from there, and I never even like toured the school or anything, like just a FaceTime call with them, and I was like, all right, well, here goes, all or nothing. And
how about that?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I mean, here we are, but there must have been some thought process in it in the sense of, you're not going from Chicago to Buffalo, you're going from Alaska to Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was some give and take with mom and dad and this and that. So was it as smooth as you say? They say, go for it, this is your decision?
Partly, yeah. The hardest part was just trying to figure out like financially where I want to go. It's like in my budget and like also in my competitiveness, like my competitive level. And I thought Buffalo was a very good fit, and because they're just rising, and
absolutely
the tuition isn't like as high as other schools, and then like their competitive levels at other schools, like they'd have high tuition but low competitive levels, and so this was just a
perfect
medium fit, and it was a good decision.
We are so glad you made that decision. It's the right decision, by the way. Moving into the playoffs, ladies, Oswego Saturday, 2 wins against Oswego in the regular season. So from a coaching standpoint, what are you taking from those 2 games, 2 victories?
I think our speed is the biggest factor. Oswego can't keep up with us. If we play our systems, we connect on our passes. The biggest factor for us winning the games will be their goaltender, Magical. I think she's one of the best in the conference. If she shows up to play, it'll be a close game. If she doesn't, it won't be. So we're very, very excited about the playoff game.
And on the other hand, you have a pretty good goaltender as well. So this could be a low scoring, high. How do you see this? This is interesting.
Well, every game is a gamble, right? So, Silva will have the start on Saturday, and she's eager and she's ready. She knows that it could be potentially her last game ever with Buff State. So I think you're going to just see a phenomenal game from all of our senior class and the rest of the girls as well.
It must be comforting, we have time for one more question, that save for one team, you end the season with 4 victories, 5 of your last 6 heading into last weekend. That's got to be somewhat comforting taking that. How do you take that momentum and almost have a week off into a playoff game?
We just really work on flow and getting our feet going underneath us. I'm not going to teach them any new system, anything they don't know already, keeping it extremely simple, keeping it fun, keeping it light, and not overworking the girls so they're not tight and tired, and we'll do great.
Wow. Well, ladies, thanks for being on the show. wish you the best of luck against the Lakers. And let's get the third win against Oswego this Saturday. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Bengal Magazine. I want to thank everybody in Creative Media Services and you, the viewers. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.